This movie is about scripting, specifically how do you modify components of a game object in code. We know we can do it through the editor, but how would you do it through the code itself? I wrote a little script to illustrate this. So in other words, let's think of this. This script is probably attached to a game object like a cube or a player or whatever over in the hierarchy. So when it's attached to a game object, we want to be able to access the components of that game object and maybe modify them in code. Let's look at one example. I know that lights are a component of a game object. So I'm going to declare a variable of type light, and I'll call it the light. How do I get access to that? Well, I use the getComponent method. The way the getComponent method works is you say getComponent, then you specify the type of the component in angle brackets. So this would be getComponent, angle brackets light, and then put the parentheses because it is a method. In other words, the light, which is a variable I made, holds a reference to the light component of the game object. After I get a reference to it, then I can change it. I could say the light.type equals lightType.directional, or lightType.spotlight, or lightType.pointlight. So that is how I would access a component for a game object in code and modify it. Now, I did it for the light here. I could do it for any of the other components, including the transform component. However, because the transform component is accessed so often, we use a little shortcut. We can simply say transform dot, either translate, rotate, or the last one's a little wacky. Local scale will allow us to scale it. Now, you'll notice for each of these there's a set of parentheses and 3 numbers with F's by them. Don't be intimidated by the F, it just means float. So translate 4F, 0.5F, 0F would mean move the X 4 units over, the Y 0.5 units up, and the Z 0 units. Same thing applies to the rotate. For local scale, you have to use this thing called new vector 3, which basically defines a new way of drawing the object using a vector. Vector 3 means it's got 3 parts. Now, what if in this object that we're working on, we have a script besides this script? In other words, there's 2 scripts attached to this game object, and I want to get access to that other script in this script. How do I do that? Well, here's the beauty of it. Every script is itself a component of a game object. I could say my script 1, which would be the other script, and I give it a name called other script 1. I would get access to it using getComponent, right? So once I have a reference to it, I can call a method on it. Other script 1 dot do something. So just to review that real quickly, I know that was a little tough. If there's another script attached to this game object that's called myScript1, I declare a variable of data type myScript1. I'm going to call it otherScript1. I get a reference to it using getComponent, like we did above. Once I have a reference to that script, I can call its methods, like do something. Well, that's enough for now in terms of accessing and modifying components of a given object in script. The other part here below we will look at in the next video.